Okay, so we're back, guys. I didn't actually know about the chart type, so that's a really good question, Simon. Thank you for putting that together. Next up is Louise Shorten, who's going to be talking about finance intelligence, and Louise is from Perception and is an avid contributor to things like Makeover Monday and Workout Wednesday, etc. So I'm really looking forward to this talk. So Louise, if you're online, over to yourself.
Hi, brilliant. Thanks a million. Before I kick off, thanks so much to all the organisers of Tableau Fringe Festival. So Sarah, Wasim, and Simon and Emily. Really delighted to have this opportunity to present today. So thanks a million. I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes or so, and my plan was to talk for 20 minutes. So depending on how quickly I speak, if there's time at the end and if people have questions in the Q&A feed, I'll be delighted to get to them if I have time, and if not, I'll get them afterwards. So I'll take over now and share my screen. So as you just said there, the title of my presentation is Finance Intelligence, and finance meets business intelligence. So spoiler alert, the business intelligence software I'm going to be talking about is obviously Tableau. So no surprises there. You haven't listened to the Tableau Fringe. I suppose the aim of my presentation is to explore how finance teams can get value from harnessing the power of Tableau. So Tableau's mission is to help people see and understand their data. And finance professionals are flooded with different types of data. And I really believe that I'm going to zone in on different ways that I believe they can get value from Tableau, from CFO level dashboards down to kind of live working workbooks and reporting, and help analysts do their day-to-day jobs. So just to give you an overview of what I'll be going through, I'm going to talk briefly about my career path and Tableau journey. And then I'm going to set the scene and just talk to you a bit about why I'm passionate about this topic. And then I'll highlight 7 key benefits that I believe finance teams can get from using Tableau. So I'm Louise Shorten. I'm an analytics consultant, trainer, and Tableau evangelist for Perception Data Consulting, and I live in Dublin. And I'm passionate about helping people see and understand their data with Tableau. So I'm what you could call a recovering accountant, more than 12 years experience working across finance and IT. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. And I blog at gettingvizzywithit.blog occasionally, not as much as I'd like. So I'm not going to bore you too much by dwelling on my career in education, but just to give you, kind of set the scene, give you the context of why I'm interested in this topic and what my background is. I studied computer science, linguistics, and German in Trinity College, and started my career in EY as in the field of analytics, as an IT consultant and doing a lot of data analysis and analytics. Then decided to take an opportunity to become an accountant, and I qualified as an ACCA accountant and worked in finance for a number of years. Worked for Novell and Fintrax. And I started off on the financial reporting side of things and moved in then to financial planning and analysis. And I really got a kind of renewed interest in data and analysis, and I decided I wanted to refresh my skills. So I did a higher diploma in science and data analytics in NCI. And that kind of allowed me to transition back into the field of data analytics, which I'm really passionate about. I feel very lucky to say that I'm working for Perception Data Consulting today and working in that field. So my Tableau journey or relationship, so I saw Curtis Harris refer to his relationship status with Tableau in a blog post a few months back, and I robbed that. So I met Tableau in 2008, and it's crazy to think now that's nearly 10 years ago. And I used it in a short-time project, and I was working with EY, and then didn't touch it again for a number of years. So you could say we were on a break. And in that period, I was working in finance, and no surprises, I was using Excel. So that was my tool of choice for a number of years, and I still use it to a certain extent today. But in 2014-15, when I did the higher diploma in data analytics, I got a student license from Tableau. So for free, I got a license, and it was a great opportunity to get to learn it and use it again, and bringing us through to today, where I'm using it nearly almost every day. And yeah, so we're officially in a relationship. Our status is at that point. So to set the scene, if we look at the traditional reporting that you often find that finance teams are doing, it's predominantly Excel-based. lots of tables, and there are often lots of time-consuming, tedious tasks to be done at month end. And what often happens is that Excel reports are copied into a PDF document or embedded in, and the reports are static. They tend to be static, removed from the data. So what you often find as well is that there is low level of engagement from the people that the reports are being shared with. So they often don't encourage the behavior or the change in behavior, or encourage the action that they've been designed to create, they've been created for. And then if you look at business intelligence tools, which allow people to get actionable insights from their data, and allow huge amounts of information to be brought together, visualized, and condensed and presented in a consumable manner. So it makes sense that for people in finance working with loads of different types of data, that there's huge value to be gained through leveraging technology and sharing the innovative tools across the organization, rather than, say, just having them within a BI team. Before I get into the detail of the 7 benefits that I mentioned, I'm just going to give an example of how, or illustrate how I believe data visualization can really help people to understand data. So this is a table that I created in my old friend Excel. So it's a pivot table, and it's looking at flight connections across the US. It's data that I got from the Tableau website. So along the months, along the columns, you see the months, and going down the rows, you see the years, and you get to see all the different figures for the flight connections per month, per year. So I saw people discussing prizes in the chats. Unfortunately, I don't have any prizes lined up, but if anyone can spot the month and year with the highest number of flight connections, I'll be impressed. You might get to it, and you might scan down the rows and the columns. You might think you see it, but can you be really sure when you have to scan and hurt your eyes and your brain by trying to kind of process and remember as you scan down? And I think it's fair to say that it's not easy to see any trends. So there's nothing hitting you when you look at this table. You don't get a feel for actually what's in the data. And then if we visualize that data, so this is the same data visualized in Tableau. And at the center of the view, there's a highlight table with no figures. But the figures are there. If you want to kind of hover over, you can get to see them. So at the top right-hand corner, you can see the legend. So very quickly, you see the range. You see that the darker shade of orange represents higher numbers. So you see the range going from 384 to 653. You see what that top limit is. And then if you look at 2007, you can see the darker shade. And if you start to kind of hover over and you see these dark ones here, you see that the 653 was indeed in August 2007. So looking at the heat map, certain things kind of jump out at you. For example, if you look at February, you can see that it's a lighter shade of orange, so it's a lower month. And you can see the darker shades from 2004 down to 2008. What I've also added then is marginal bar graphs. So on the right-hand side, I've got the totals for each year, so you can scan down and even see slight differences between the lengths of the bars. And at the bottom of the chart, then you see the seasonality across the months. I think this kind of the marginal histogram was made popular, I think, by Ben Jones and Steve Wexler. And I think used with a heat map or a highlight table, it's just a really powerful way of giving people a flavor for what's in the data. And then if you were so desired, you could also add the specifics of the figures. In finance, you often need to be comfortable with the figures. You need to have them sometimes at the tip of your tongue and be very familiar with them. But what visualizing the data as well is doing is highlighting the trends and allowing people that might not be so savvy with kind of reading figures to get an idea of what the data is saying. So the first, in terms of the 7 benefits, so the first one I'm going to talk about is how Tableau is flexible and dynamic. So it's flexible in that you're really only limited by your imagination on the one hand, and possibly by your level of expertise. But there's such a vibrant Tableau community that if you don't know how to do something, you can often just really delve. Someone has most likely done it before, and you can tap into that resource that's there in the community. And it's flexible in that you can provide your users with so many different options and allow them to using filters and parameters to get at the information that's relevant for them and look at what they want to see. So the possibilities really are unlimited. And to demonstrate some of that flexibility, I have a dashboard that was created by Ryan Sleeper, who's a Zen master. I think it's a nice example of showing the way you can provide a user with a high-level overview of, say, 3 key metrics in a business, and sales, profit ratio, and average days to ship. And then also give the users the power and the flexibility to decide what they want to look at, what period, what region, and what date or what granularity. So currently we're looking at trends for all of the US, but if you wanted to, for example, just dig into the central region, you get that dynamic change in the views. So you're seeing all the different trends. You can also, through actions in Tableau, create this really nice kind of navigation where, okay, you said you want to find out more about the central region. Well, here's your map, and now you can see how the different states are doing. You can have a lot of choice. You can choose, okay, well, maybe I want to look at profit ratio instead of sales and compare it to prior year. And you're seeing the trends, you're seeing insights, and you can dig in further, depending on what's interesting to you. Another example is this kind of nice KPI kind of corporate style dashboard created by another Zen master, Bridget Wins-Cogley. It's nice to just highlight how you can, say on the right hand side, we've got a panel where you've got the key performance indicators. You don't have to work too hard to see those figures, the key stats that are important to your business. And then at the bottom left hand corner, we have a scatter plot where each dot represents a customer, and I'm talking about, just to highlight again, the kind of the dynamic way you can customize the view that you're looking at. So you can hover over a dot to see the different how those statistics look for each customer. I think that's another really nice example. Next point, next benefit, as I see it, is integration of data sources. So when you're in finance, you're often flooded with data. So it's not just financial data. You have your transactional ERP data, and you might have payroll expenses. You're often looking at operational data as well, or data that's coming from a CRM system, sales data, and oftentimes these data sources are sitting in different systems. Now, sometimes you might have them integrated, but oftentimes you're going to need data from multiple systems. And also then if you've got budget data, that's often going to be sitting in an Excel sheet due to the manner in which it's collected, kind of sent out to people for input. You have all this data, and what Tableau allows you to do is it has native connectors with loads of different databases. So if we just click on here, so this is the options that you have when you're connecting to data. So you see all the host of databases. So you've got SAP, Oracle, for example, and then Salesforce if you wanted to bring in your CRM data, and you can bring in Excel, text, PDF, etc. So you can merge data from multiple databases and create this really rich database that can allow you to do the analysis that you need to do. New questions answered. So there's nothing worse than being in a meeting armed with a static PDF printout, and you get a question that you hadn't anticipated, and you can't answer it in that meeting. So you kind of come to a halt, and it means that you might have to reschedule, have another meeting, go back and do more analysis. And it's really not a productive way of using the information that you should have at your fingertips. So one brilliant feature of Tableau is the way it provides you with options for getting detail on demand. You can create views where you can think about what the most important questions are to your business, and you want to maybe put that on a landing page. Then provide the users and the analysts with then options to drill down, to dig a bit deeper into areas that are of particular interest to them. So this is a dashboard I'm looking at budget variance analysis. Now, this is just focusing on sales, but it could equally you could equally be looking at a P&L, an income statement, with looking at variances across your income and expenses. So in the top left-hand corner, we're just seeing the overall budget and sales and variance for the company as a whole. And then underneath that, if we look, we have different lines of business: technology, office supplies, and furniture. And if, for example, you wanted to take a bit of a closer look at technology, you can just click on this icon. It's going to bring you into a page focusing on technology, where you see your top 20 customers down the left-hand side. And just to highlight, so the legend back in the prior page highlighted that anything that's orange is under budget. So it's kind of just bringing those areas of focus, areas to your attention that you need to focus on. And if we look at the subcategory over on the right, you can see that copiers and machines, for example, are under budget. and you might want to have a closer look at machines. So you have this, again, the kind of views that are dynamically updating tables, and you might want to just drill down and have a look at the different product names. So again, each step of the way, you're just going a step deeper depending on what you're interested in. And then if we go back, just to show then on the right-hand side, or the top right corner, you see how each country is performing. Any country that's orange is popping out at you as being under budget. And if we look at the UK, you can see there's quite a big gap there between the budget, the actual and the budget. So through tooltips, you can now actually create or add other new visualizations. So you're saving space, and so you don't need to put everything on the face of your dashboard. You can create, add additional context through visualizations in your tooltips. If you, for example, so if we click on the UK, then if you see the map, what you're seeing then is the variances across the different cities. If you decided you wanted to take a closer look again, you could dig deeper, see your cities on the left and add your customers on the right, for example. And again, interactive, dynamic views depending on what you're interested in. So this is just an example, but it's a way of demonstrating. I mean, you could put anything you want into these views because it's so flexible, and it's about identifying what's relevant, what's going to be relevant for your organization, and designing reports and dashboards that are going to be powerful for you. So next up, we have access to the data. So this was a real bugbear of mine when I was kind of a consumer and a creator of these reports, and it was the lack of access to the data. So when you're asked a question about a static report and there's a figure, for example, there might be a budget variance that you're being asked about. Not only is it static, it can often be kind of a challenge to actually get back to the underlying data and work out why there's a variance and what you can do then to rectify that and to put a plan in place so that it's not going to continue for the rest of the year. So what we'd often find is that there'd be multiple sources of data kind of feeding into one report, and to actually track back then to the underlying kind of root cause of why there might be a budget variance was always a challenge. And you'd spend time investing in that. So you'd invest time kind of just trying to even figure out what the figures were, which is really not time well spent. And just to go back to the previous example, so in the bottom right-hand corner when I was showing the drill down, what you can do as well is you can always right-click and view the actual data. So you're getting the most granular detail of data, and you can then, at that point, you might want to visualize it in Tableau or export it as a CSV, for example. Oops, I don't want to do that. Okay. So the fifth point, so Tableau Server and Tableau Online provide the necessary capabilities then for sharing these dashboards, reports, and even data across your organization. So they provide a platform for sharing the knowledge, the information, the intelligence across the business. You can certify data sources, so you can kind of empower analysts and people in the business to self-serve, so to give them the data, control it, and allow them to then get the insights themselves, which can be an empowering process. And a Tableau Server can ensure that you can ensure the security of your data with its robust kind of governance structure. And so, and the sixth benefit, so communication. I really believe that communication can be improved through the use of Tableau for all the reasons that I've mentioned already. And so you can provide reports to stakeholders which present the data, but also enable them to dig deeper and answer the questions get to the answers that are relevant for them. I think you can also enable finance teams to present and to be more engaging in when they're presenting data or when they're presenting figures to other parts of the organization, so allowing them to use visuals and help other people to relate to the figures in a meaningful way. And it can also help them to collaborate across finance teams, across departments. And my last kind of benefit then is so improved efficiency and time to explore. So I already talked about how sometimes the process can be quite time consuming at month end. It can be, you can spend days updating reports, updating the data and reports. And if people aren't engaging with the reports, if they're not getting value from them, then it's essentially time wasted. If there is a kind of if there are a lot of manual elements to the process, again, it's time wasted that could be better spent. So through streamlining processes with Tableau, and through automating procedures, maybe with Tableau or tools like Alteryx, teams should be able to be then more efficient, and it should free up time to explore the data. Now, there's obviously going to be an investment in putting, shaping the data and getting it into a good shape and designing reports. But while there's an investment up front, then there's going to be time saved down the line. And as I said, then to explore. So companies don't always know the questions they don't always know the questions they should be asking. And sometimes they've been asking the same questions for years, despite the fact that their business may have changed. So allowing analysts then time to explore and to kind of look at the unknown unknowns is allowing them possibly find the nuggets in the data and get that extra value. So that is the end of the presentation. So it sums up my presentation on Tableau for finance. I don't know how I'm doing time-wise, Sarah. I think I'm probably just about 20 minutes. So if I'll just go to the Q&A now, but someone stop me if I'm running out of time.
You're bang on time, Louise.
Okay, super.
I don't think there's Q&A.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Great, thanks a million.